Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial. I'm kind of doing a not everyday look, so basically when I go out I like to look really nice, which means that my everyday sort of look is a little bit nicer than most people's everyday look. I really like this makeup look because it's really easy to put on and you look $1 million in it, and yeah, let's get on with it. I'm going to go through all of the different types of products that I'm going to be using, but again, if you cannot get the product that I'm talking about, just grab something similar. I think most of you will probably have something fairly similar that you can use, so go with that instead. The first thing that I do before I bother with any kind of makeup is cleanse, tone and moisturize my skin. You can go into more detail on that sort of thing when I do my video about the skincare products that I use, but just to quickly kind of summarize, the moisturizer that I use is this one, Clinique Dramatically Different Moisturizing Lotion Plus. It's pretty good. I'll go into it further in my other video. And then I also use Even Better Eyes Dark Circle Corrector, which is also by Clinique. And this is an amazing primer for any kind of concealer and stuff that goes under your eyes. I find that this just absolutely makes the biggest difference in the world, and the concealer will just glide on and it's beautiful. You'll see in a minute. The other thing that I use is Napoleon Perdis Allergy Eye Relief. I get really bad allergy eyes, and if my eyes are even a little bit red, I know that after I put makeup on they'll be even more red because the powder and all that sort of thing gets into your eye sometimes. So yeah, I'll prime with this guy as well. So I'm going to be doing an everyday kind of look today, so we'll start with just the basic kind of stuff that I do. I don't bother with foundation. I don't generally find that I need it very much. The lighting here is really flattering, but I do have under eye circles, so I'm going to conceal those. Also the redness around the base of my nose, a couple of spots here and there, that sort of thing. So let's start with that. I will be using this, which is half used up and doesn't have a label on it. It's just the basic MAC concealer. I'll put a label about what brand it is because it's literally that. Like, I've hit pan with it and it's literally running out, but there's enough there that I can use it for today. So I just load up a little bit on my fingertip like so, and I just apply it to the under eye area. You're actually looking at a reflected image of me. You're looking at my mirror because I am so vision impaired that without my glasses on I actually need to get about that close to the mirror surface to see what I'm doing. And I realised putting a mirror behind my video camera was not going to work, so I just really gently swipe that underneath my eyes. I like to take it down a little bit just onto this part of my face as well, so that it sort of blends. I find that if you just do the under eye circle then it's not as nice, like the colour changes too much, so I tend to sort of dust it over the top part of my eyes like that. I also do my eyelids because I find that this concealer is a fairly good base for powdered makeup. The other side. Again, you can see that dramatically different moisturizer and the under eye corrector, it just make an amazing base for concealer. I'm going to pop some under here as well, and a little bit on my nose. My nose is a little bit pink today, but not too bad. Not too bad at all. And then there's a spot there. This concealer has probably lasted me about 18 months, so it lasts forever. It's amazing. But again, it's everyday makeup, don't bother putting it on every square millimetre of your face. To set this liquid, because I always set everything I do in liquid, I set with powder. So this is the powder I'm using. It's Fit Mean, matches natural tone, blends seamlessly, lets skin breathe. Maybelline Fit Me. Doesn't really matter what brand you're using. And this is just the puff that came with it, but you can use a brush instead. But I just pop that under the eyes there. And along the bridge of the nose. And you can see I'm just using like gentle patting motions because I don't like to swipe it because then it'll dislodge the cream that I've already put under my eye. That's the word I was looking for cream. And where's that spot that I did? There it is. And that's a fairly close match to my face as well. But again, it doesn't really matter what brand you use, as long as it's a powder that's not got too much of a glimmer in it. Next I'm going to use this. This is Glam Bronze L'Oreal Paris, and it's a duo kind of thing. It came with a brush in here, but I didn't like the brush. I'm using, this is a Napoleon Perdis brush. This is actually an angled one. It's quite nice. So I just load it up with a bit of the brown, and then I'm going to contour under my cheekbone like so. And then I like to just blend it with my fingers. Then the other side. So I'm just going, pretty much this is the line here that you've got to follow, basically from the top of the ear to the side of the mouth. And deposit more colour closer to the sides of the face, and then sort of swipe it forward, like so. That'll give your face a bit more definition, especially if you look a bit young, 19, 20, 21 years old, and you feel like you look a bit young going for a job interview, something like that. Contouring really makes a difference because it stops your head looking like all cutesy and kitty and round. But at the same time, if you're a bit older, it kind of gives a bit more definition to the face as well. But you don't generally need quite as much. I like to go under the jaw because I'm a bit... I don't even know what the word for that is. Again, not a makeup artist here, so... And then around the outside of my forehead, like so. And that just sort of smooths the face out a bit. I like to also add a little bit just to the temples here, just to accentuate my cheekbones a bit more, because I find that having big cheekbones makes your face look quite aristocratic. Think Natalie Dormer or Benedict Cumberbatch. And then just sort of smooth everything out with my hands. I use my hands a lot when I apply makeup. I know professional makeup artists don't. I use my face a hell of a lot. So I'm going to use the other part of this palette here. So the highlight part, I suppose. Just pick up a little bit on my finger, and then just slide that along the cheekbone, and also a little bit just under here. And on the other side. And again, that's just to bring out this cheekbone a little bit more. Okay, the last bit of contouring I do is I take my fluffy brush. This is Body Shop. Body Shop do really nice brushes, I must admit. And I'm going to be using this colour, which has faded a lot, but it's Cork by MAC eyeshadow. It's just a nice kind of warm slash neutralish brown. So using my pinky finger as kind of like a lever, I place that onto my face, and then that gives you so much more control over what you're doing with the rest of your hand. So I'm just going to draw really lightly down the side of my nose on one side and on the other. This is going to slenderize your nose a hell of a lot. Marilyn Monroe used to use this technique before nose jobs were invented. This is what everybody did to give them a nice slender nose. Mine is wider at the bottom here, so I like to just put a little bit more on there. And then just with your fingertips lightly push that back so that the line isn't so obvious. Try not to get too much on the tip of your nose or it'll look like you've got a dirty nose. The other place I like to do a little bit is under here. And again, see how I'm using my pinky finger as sort of a fulcrum? And that sort of gives a false impression of a shadow underneath your lip, which makes your lip look plumper. One of the only parts of our bodies we like to look plump. Lips. Now, I'm going to take my brush and tap off any excess, and then I'm actually going to do my eye makeup. We're finally at that stage. Just here. I like to do the outer corner and then push it in along that crease. I do get a bit of product build up because I haven't put any powder on this part of my face since I applied that cream makeup, so I like to just gently push it through that build up to get rid of it. And then also a little bit just under the eye like so. And again, I'm going to smooth it out with my fingertips because I use my fingertips a lot. Actually more than I realised that I was using them. Now that I'm doing this tutorial, I'm like, whoa, I'm using my fingers a hell of a lot. Other side. This is great if you're not very good at blending as well, because it kind of blends it for you. So essentially what I've done is just added a bit of definition around the sides of my eyes. Like so. Let's check how that looks. Again, I'm very, very bad at being able to see. Just going to even that out a little bit. If you wear glasses, it's really important to like keep putting them back on again to make sure that everything you've done is sort of symmetrical and looks okay. A little bit more. It's not quite dark enough. On those outer corners. So I'm using a windscreen wiper motion basically when I'm applying the makeup with the brush, and then sort of patting when I'm blending with my fingertip. So you end up with kind of dirty fingertips, but you can wash your hands off afterwards. Next step is a slightly darker brown. So to compare, here's the lighter brown that I used, that was Cork, and this one is Espresso. Espresso with an S, not an X. Drives me nuts when people say espresso. So load up the brush with powder, tap off any excess, so that will stop like random bits sort of landing on your face where you don't want them, and then just fill in just this outer corner. So basically the same area that I did with the lighter brown, but a smaller spread, if that makes sense. So the same location, but not as big an area. Yeah, good explaining. This way. See, you need that fulcrum to get the accuracy. And a little bit underneath. Like so. The last step I'm going to do is go back to the original fluffy brush, and I'm going to use this colour. This colour is Seen by MAC, and it's just a slightly more bluish grey, and I just dust on the tiniest amount, and that is actually going to bring down the warmth a little bit. So if your reds are starting to look a little bit too warm for your face, you look a bit pale or bluey in comparison, this is a really great one to even that out. Give you a bit more of a neutral brown everyday look. Blush, obviously. Try not to do the apples of the cheek, which are this part and the part there. What I try and do is swipe it a little higher than that, and then bring it down to that. I don't need very much because it's pretty warm today and my cheeks are a bit flushed already. The blush that I'm using is Savvy Classic Blush in Silky Pink. Basically with these drugstore things, the contour as well and the facial powder, I just go for anything that doesn't have glitter in it but is relatively cheap. I find that it all stays on sort of the same amount. Okay, finally I'm going to be using Clinique Quick Liner for Eyes Intense, which is, I got it as a freebie, so it's kind of a, it's not a pencil eyeliner either. I don't really know what you would call that, but it's really nice to use. Go back down faster. So I'm going to line just underneath there and on the other side there. So this is sort of half in that waterline and half below it. I'm basically just aiming for the tiny hairs in my lower lash line. I hate it when you do one side better than the other. Reminds me of that pickup line. Hey lady, are you liquid eyeliner? Because I'm about to mess this up. And just a little bit close to the lash line on the outer top part there and here. This is really good. If you can't do liquid eyeliner, this is pretty much the next best thing. Or if you're too lazy to bother with liquid eyeliner. Okay, so I'm just going to smudge that with my ring finger. Lovely. Okay, and finally, I curl my lashes. This is a really, really old school eyelash curler. I don't even know what brand it is. I got this from my mum. Curlash. Kurlash. I got it from my mum. Basically, if you just replace the rubber in here and keep it fairly clean, they'll last forever. I just try and do one right at the base. Try not to think about it too much. And then one halfway out. If you heat this up, like if you're using your GHD or a hair curler at the same time, you sit this on the ceramic of that, it'll heat up. Not too much, mind, or you'll burn yourself. And then that actually will set the curl a lot more than what I'm doing today, but again, that's for if you're going out somewhere fancy. And this is just the mascara that I currently own. I don't have a preference for mascara. I just pick the one that has the nicest packaging, and they all sort of look the same on me. Look at how dirty my hands are. It's ridiculous. And that's basically it. I hope this tutorial was really, really helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!